This episode has been brought to you from the DGMS Studios, home of Don't Get Me Started, Lethal and Mully Live, and Surftown. Found at Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and wherever you listen to your podcast. Hello and welcome to Don't Get Me Started. It's the mother of all podcasts with Keith and Lee. Hi, I'm Lee.
And I'm Keith.
Well, I must start off, Keith. I think winter suits you. You come in, you're looking smart. You've got the lovely velvet jacket on. You look like you're 35. May winter continue.
Well, may these compliments continue, and if they do, I'm going to come here more often.
No, you look good, mate. You don't look your normally scraggly self when you come in. Look like you've been dragged through a bush backwards in summer. Mate, you look very slick.
God,
slick is the word. I love the jacket.
Do you?
I love the jacket.
Thanks.
Good on you.
Kind of new.
It's lovely.
It's got a collar. Do you think I look better in a collar rather than a T-shirt?
Yeah, a collar's better. Suit you.
Hides the wrinkles at the back of the neck.
How's your week been?
Oh, look, great. I had a bit of a highlight, actually. I've just come across a new singer. Now, I haven't been listening to music a lot lately, but I've just come across a Melbourne singer, a girl by the name of Grace Cummings, and she has just knocked me out of the park. Yeah, very, very good.
What genre?
Oh, geez, it'd be hard to say. She's so original. I really can't pin her down.
Give us a few tunes.
Oh, I couldn't. Because
what's her name again?
Grace Cummings.
Grace Cummings.
Her range is phenomenal.
Really?
She's a world-class vocalist. She can go low, she can go high. When she holds the notes, it's full of melody, full of good timbre. She's one of those people that have everything.
How old is she?
32.
Oh, just at that age.
She's got everything. She writes her own lyrics. She composes the arrangements of the tunes. She sings it. She plays a piano. She plays a guitar. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
She's good looking. She's got great skin.
I was waiting for that.
And she's got great teeth. Got everything. Well, don't laugh. It's important.
She's got the whole deal happening.
Well, Scott,
and you've bought it.
Oh, big time.
Big time.
I am a huge fan. So much so, I know I make a little bit of a joke about her teeth, but yeah, I'll tell you why it's important. People have died in the past from bad health of their teeth because they didn't realise that they had to floss and get rid of the half-digested meal that's rotting in between their teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyway, I'm making a joke about that. So sorry, Grace. I want to really sing your praises with brass trumpets from rooftops because you are a genuine world talent.
After this podcast, I'm going to get on, check her out. It's unusual for you to listen to music as well, which is good. So it must have made an impression on you.
Oh, big time. Like I said, I haven't been listening to music for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I came across
even though you should, because what we've been talking about.
Well, I've always loved music and had a life full of it as a fan, but I've just been doing other things pardon me. But coming across her just is my cup of Darjeeling entirely. She's so distinct and such a original that she probably isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, but there's no hiding the fact that she is class.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it now. Yeah. Thanks, Molly.
Yeah. I'm excited too. So she's right up my tree. So I was really
right up your alley, mate.
That was the thrill of my week, coming across Grace Cummings.
Excellent.
And she sings with passion. There's a concert on YouTube of Jim Morrison in full flight somewhere in LA. I think it might have been the Fillmore. And it goes for about an hour and a half. And Jim is there with the band right at the top of their powers. And the intensity of his performance. Now, a lot of frontmen jump around like Jagger, like Freddie Mercury used to. Jim Morrison virtually was like a statue, but the intensity of his stillness and his face conveyed right across into the camera, and it kind of matched the lyrics of his songs. Grace does exactly the same thing. You can feel the passion and the intensity
Stop it.
Just by looking at her.
You've got to go watch it now.
Oh, you must. She's just absolutely. And her new album is called Ramona. Yes. So, Grace, if you're out there and you're listening and I'm in the audience for one of your concerts here in Australia, just flick us a couple of free tickets and I'll keep singing your praise endlessly.
Well, better still, check out Lethal and Mully Live. We'd love to have you on. It'd be sensational.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Oh, we have to try now.
Because I saw her being interviewed interviewed by a radio station, internet radio station. She had been influenced by Dylan, and she gave a little bit of an obscure answer to say, well, sort of. But I think seeing her perform and listening to the songs, I've only heard about 6 or 7. I'd say she's taken a lot of influences from a whole lot of other people, but she is definitely original and she is definitely world class.
Oh, mate, I'm sold. Sign me up. Now, I've told you before, I've acquired a turntable, which I'm very excited about because it takes me way back to my days where I got one for Christmas and I then got War of the Worlds and I got Out of the Blue with the blue vinyls and I got right into it. And now it's coming Monday and I've got out all my old vinyls and I'll be playing them in the happy place in the studio. And it will tie in with what actually we've been talking about later on, which we will be given more information for. So that fits in nicely, Mully.
Do you still have all your old vinyls?
I have a small portion of them. Unfortunately, I lost a few when we first came over 30 odd years ago. But now I've slowly been rebuilding them. They're never the same because you give them your time and your attention. I looked after them. So when they came out the sleeve, they were clean. And when they went back in, they were clean and they were put back into place. How I like it, as you can see with the studio, I like things in their place. And so I know where they are. But the music, I felt that era was just incredible. The time that I was alone in the bedroom and listening to real music.
Do you have any favourites?
Just the 80s, obviously. Most of the bands I had. There was another group called Japan, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, if you can think of an 80s band, I was in. I was there. I loved it. And playing all the albums. And of course, you got to know them and all the words and they stay with you. Like I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can remember the lyrics way back. It's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm so excited and excited about what you said right now.
Yeah, about Grace, yeah.
About Grace.
Man, if she comes to wherever you are, listeners, go and see her. She's definitely going to have a long career, I would say. It's just pure talent. Great
and
vocalist.
They're rare.
Yeah, a great vocalist. And I love it because not only she got that beautiful timbre in her voice, her range from low to high is extraordinary. And wherever she holds it within that range, it comes across as pure music, just her voice alone.
So who does she sound like?
Oh, that's hard to say because her voice is quite deep. It's got this big full sound to her, sort of like kind of like hard to describe. So I thought she would be some sort of mama who's quite advanced to middle age or something. But here she is, this little petite 30-year-old, it's really whole package. It's like that voice, that depth has come out of that girl and it's just fantastic. And like I said, she plays guitar, she plays the piano, she's got everything.
It reminds me a little bit like of Amy Winehouse. She had that feel about her when she came on, the voice, the range that she had, and the small lady that she was. And she could play instruments too. Very talented.
Amy was very distinct and obviously a very individual talent. And that, I would say, is the same for Grace. Very distinct and a very individual talent. I wouldn't compare her in any other way other than that to Amy because their music and their style and the way their sound is completely different. But both of them were very strong individuals. She's there, man.
Well, I look forward to that. What else have you been up to, Marley? Up to no good?
Well, the usual. What about you?
The same.
I love your details.
The usual. Just trying to organise people to come in to our various podcasts, trying to organise some multimedia concerning what's coming up and our little project that we have that we need to do and to complete. So that takes up a lot of my time. Family, of course, we've had birthdays. So it's my birthday, it's my wife's birthday yesterday. So it's been a pretty full-on week, actually, which has been great. And the weather's been extraordinarily good. Hence, you're rugged up, which you look pretty good, as I just said.
Gosh, stop it.
It's crazy. Like, I would just think that you were coming in to do like an aftershave advert.
God, what's going on here, Lee?
It's like you said on your shirt, Mambo, the mark of a man.
I'm a Mambo man. I love it all. And he's got these great shirts that he's designed with all these crazy things like Jesus under a tree that's got beer cans on it.
Yeah.
And then he's got kangaroos on surfboards and all sorts of stuff. And I'm on a mission to get more Mambo shirts, not T-shirts, shirts with a collar. Really? They're outrageous. Yeah, they're kind of like Hawaiian shirts, but they've got a very sort of satirical Australian twist on them. Like I said, Jesus under a tree that's growing beer cans. I mean, it can only happen in Australia, right?
Only Australia, mate.
Yeah, I'm after that one. But last one, they came out years ago, and I went on the net. I thought I'll pick them up on the net. So there's a couple there for sale for $330 something.
Wow, okay.
I thought the budget isn't that good at the moment, so I thought that'll have to wait.
Well, I did spend a little bit too much on the turntable, but it can be used in various ways, which we will be using it quite a lot. That I can cover the cost.
Well, I've got a little surprise for you because
good. Where
I
is it?
have a unopened, it's sealed, unopened album of Leonard Cohen. His very last album, You Want It Darker. So we can bring it in here. We can get the plastic off it. We can play it. It'll be its first outing.
I'll be great because as you can see, KRK speakers there, active speakers ready to go. I had to order the special cables to run. They have to be the audio cables. So in that whole workings of getting everything together, I have learned so much to do with the podcast, with the cables that you need. You need the right cables. You need the expensive cables because otherwise you won't get the sound quality. And I had to order these cables from America to come over to fix it all up. I could have gone middle of the road, but heck, it's only money, Mully.
Well, that's why they call you the Podmaster, because you not only know how to put all the wires together and which buttons to press, but you go for quality and you go for the best.
Well, I'm starting to realise now, because we work on the Rodecaster Pro 2, which we're talking through now, what a piece of machinery it is. And now I understand with all the preamps in it, how it works and how it functions and how very versatile it is. And we're going to run the music through this as well. So happy days.
Happy days indeed. And I know that you've got big plans for the studio and for our little podcast enterprise beyond podcasting. But Lee, time is moving along here.
It is.
I've mentioned the topic that I thought would be good for us to talk about today.
I think it's a corker.
So I think we better get onto it.
Let's get onto it.
Now, the topic is forgiveness. You like it?
I like it. It can mean so many things of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the conscious and deliberate decision to let go of resentment and anger. If that's what you have, is it down to that or you're hurt? It's a process of releasing negative emotions associated with a hurtful event or action.
Now, that's really a good description. So I have a question bouncing off that. If you are hurt or you have negative emotions because of something that has happened to you, particularly from another person, what if that other person hasn't repented in the sense where they've wanted to say sorry? Can you still forgive that person if they haven't shown any remorse for what they've done to you?
Yeah, because I've thought about this before and I've made a few notes here, but there's too many. But it's the whole purpose of letting go of resentment. You know, forgiveness involves actively choosing to release your negative emotions about that particular offence. And such as we've been saying, anger, bitterness, and the desire for retribution. You want your pound of flesh. It takes from you. So forgiveness is good for you. It's good for your soul. It's good for your mental health. You're not dragging that around with you that has been put upon you. So it's not for them per se, it's more for you to move forward. Now, whether you can keep that relationship or think it's going to be the same, I don't think it will.
Can I come back to that? Because I want to stay on the dynamics of can or should or how you forgive somebody who's done something to you that they haven't said sorry for. Now, I have a very personal situation about this. Somebody who has done something really terrible to my family, very terrible, to the point where that person ended up in jail. And I can't find it within me to forgive myself, to forgive him because of what he has done. He hasn't shown any remorse. He just doesn't care of the consequences or the damage he's done to myself and others. Should I forgive him when he hasn't moved towards rectifying the situation? What do you think?
Well, I think it's what you're holding on to that. If you're holding on to the hurt or you're angry or you want your pound of flesh, it's not good for you to have that. Let me give it back to you. Why can't you forgive him?
I think I can. I don't want retribution. I don't want my pound of flesh, but I don't want him to think, Keith's forgiven me. He's moved on. Therefore, it didn't really matter what I did because I don't have to face any consequences.
Well, they do eventually. Karma comes around. But for you to say, Keith's forgiven me. So what you need to forgive him face to face or make it a verbal forgiveness so he hears it, or you can just forgive him for who he is and that you don't have to carry that around with you because it's still there. there.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't want to have anything to do with this guy. So I don't care whether I forgive him or not. Now, I don't feel like I'm being held back because I haven't forgiven him. I feel like that's helping me to safeguard myself against what he might do again in the future, which he very likely could.
But then some people, if you feel that it doesn't bother you, it's not really anything that you want to deal with yourself and your mental health as well, that you're protecting yourself from this person that may do it again, then forgiveness really isn't warranted. Because if you feel that he hasn't done anything to harm you, what do you want to forgive him for anyway?
Yeah, and the other side of it is too, the violation that he did was so deep, such a betrayal, that part of me doesn't think he's worthy of forgiveness. I feel like I'd be giving him some sort of grace, or as the old scripture says, throwing my pearl before a swine. And it's like, dude, I don't want to give you the time of day, let alone the graciousness of my heart. Now, that might say a lot about me as well. I'm not big enough to do it. No, that's okay. If that's the truth, well, so be it. I really don't want to give this guy 10 seconds.
Well, it does. I have relationships and had relationships with people. I grew up and I thought about they're just evil. They're monsters. But do they realise that they're evil and they're monsters? And do they really realise their actions have caused great harm and upset to other people? Now, whether you work with that and you deal with that and you push it to one side, I don't think if it's toward you, that's good for your mental health because it's there. It's sitting there. And like you brought it up today. So that whole thing for me that I learned is just to forgive not only the action, but to forgive yourself. I think it's powerful that you can forgive yourself for what you were saying. I don't think he's worth forgiving, but everybody has to have that grace. And as much as I'm thinking, no, because he's evil, he's a piece of work, I can't carry that around. It interferes with me. So the wrongdoing of that turns on to me again. And I don't want to carry that. So my forgiveness for them is really basically for me as well, for not allowing that to come through, to forgive those actions. Basically for my mental health. It reduced my stress, my anxiety, which could go into depression. We were saying we're not experts. We're just walking through our lives of our combined years of walking this earth and deal with these people. So we need to forgive, not generally for them, but also for ourselves.
That's a very good point, Lee, because I had a situation in my life where I had to forgive a person, actually a member of my family who I was very, very close to. And when I reached a point where I gave that family member forgiveness, I felt a shift within myself, a very definite shift from somewhere deep within me that enabled me, I think, to move into an area of personal growth that I hadn't experienced before. So it wasn't really, I wasn't conscious of the fact that I was mentally blocked, but I very definitely felt when that happened that I opened up a new avenue of myself becoming more of who I was as a person. So it was very significant.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. The other thing that there's 4 R's of forgiveness.
Really?
Would you like to know what they are?
So you've done your homework, Mr. Denton.
But you know me, facts. I like to learn the facts and what forgiveness is because it's true for everybody. I feel deep down in my gut it's important to forgive. And as I said, not for them, but also for yourself. So the 4 R's of forgiveness are 1, responsibility. Accept what has happened and show yourself compassion, which is a good point. Remorse. Use guilt and remorse as a getaway to positive behaviour change. Restoration, which I like this bit. Make amends with whomever you're forgiving, even if it's yourself. Because this is the thing. Sometimes we feel we can't forgive ourselves. There's things in my life when you said we're going to do the topic of forgiveness. Immediately it brought up 3-4 occasions that I can remember that I have done, not to others, but a situation I had caused which affected others. And it was stupid of me. It was immature of me. It was wrong of me. And like we all do, if we have that time alone, we're with ourselves, we make excuses for ourselves. No, that didn't happen. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. But it was your fault. And you have to forgive yourself for it because you were either, and we make excuses again, well, I was young, I was foolish, nobody told me anything. But you're a grown-ass man now and you need to deal with it. And I did. But it took things out from who I was to finally admit that it was me and I have to forgive myself, which was a very interesting concept because I was for years and years and years not being able to forgive myself. It was incredible.
Let's just stay on that point before you get on to the other R. It is strange, isn't it, that sometimes it's easier to forgive others than it is to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things I think for us to do as human beings is to be brutally honest about ourselves and to fully face our faults and our weaknesses. Our natural inclination is to throw up a defense. Okay. But what about this? What about you? We'll do anything except, and I include myself in this, to take a full-on acceptance of our failures or where I've gone wrong. So whilst we do that, you'd think we would be as a form of self-preservation, because we don't want to be seen, that we don't want to feel lesser of ourselves. Whilst we have that sort of propulsion within us, isn't it strange that we still find it hard to forgive ourselves, when really that's something that we need to do, because that's relating to self-acceptance, I would think.
Oh, it's very true. It's very real. It's the acceptance of it. Now, so responsibility, remorse, restoration, and finally renewal. So learn from the experience and grow as a person, because that, again, is another issue that we have to move forward. You continually have to move forward. It's like we were saying with you saying with your family member and what's happened. It's whether you're moving forward with that or you're staying in the same place, because then it piles around you and you're carrying it. It's too heavy. It's too hard, and you have to move on.
Yeah. And it limits you.
Another thing, if you have the anger and you feel it's directed towards a loss, because it could be a loss of what you're feeling, and then you really need to forgive, but never forget. You won't ever forget.
Well, that's also deeply tied to this, isn't it? If you forgive somebody, do you have to forget?
You don't. You can't forget the detail of what happened. That stays. You can't do anything with that, but you can forgive. Forgiveness is a powerful thing. I hope that you're enjoying the podcast and the content that we're bringing to you each week. I want to take a moment to invite you to support the show. Your contributions help us continue creating high-quality episodes, bringing in exciting guests and exploring the topics you love. Every bit helps, whether it's a small donation or signing up for our Patreon account. By supporting us, you're not just helping keeping the lights on, you're becoming part of our community and helping us grow. To show our appreciation, we offer exclusive perks, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more for our supporters. So if you love what we do and you want to see us thrive, please consider signing up at buzzsprout.com/Don't Get Me Started. Support the show. Thank you for being part of our journey, and let's keep the conversation going.
So if somebody does something to you and you have a restoration in your relationship and you forgive them, if you still remember what they have done in the first place, then that might help you to grow, to be on the lookout for similar attacks from other people or even that same person again. So that's maturity, I would think.
Yeah, I think it is. And like what you were saying before of unforgiving, an unforgiven person doesn't overlook anything. They know exactly what was done to them, when it was done to them, and what time it was done to them, maybe up to 40 years later. So they've been carrying that for 40 years plus.
Well, I'm not surprised. If you do something, say you murdered somebody and you have to be aware of that for the rest of your life, that has to be something that is within you, in your own consciousness or your own being. So that's something that you can't get away from. And so maybe if you have that guilt, that weight within you, it's something that you find very hard to forgive yourself for because you've done it. You've taken a life. And I think probably this is where religion clicks in, particularly the Christian religion, where the death of Christ is all based around forgiveness, where he says, well, I've taken everything that everybody's done wrong. Yeah. It's on me. I'm the sacrificial lamb. So if you come to me and you follow me, then all is forgiven. And I think that for some people is a very real attraction to religion. Now, some of them can just take that as a concept, or if that is a truth that's practical, then you can unload onto that sacrificial lamb
of the Bible. So he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So,
but what if they do know what they're doing?
Well, that was my next thing. Who are we to judge that? We don't know what they're thinking, what their motives are and who they are. You were saying, why is it so hard to forgive? And I've got down here, the one main reason is because forgiveness is tied to another's emotions and fears that become part of their identity, i.e., this is the person in your life maybe, and I've had people in my life. It's shame, it's blame, it's self-righteousness, pride, it's anger, fear, self-protection, hopelessness, and worst of all, self-pity. So it could be any one of those that they're dealing with. So do you want to be dealing with that? I don't want to be dealing with any of that. So what do you want to do? Let them, or whoever it is, or a situation, do you want to keep carrying that? Do you want to get your thought pattern back to that? No, I don't want to be carrying all that. I want the power of forgiveness. It's an incredible emotion too. Like you just said, you had that and you moved forward and you felt differently. It's incredibly powerful.
It is very powerful. And again, I think it goes back to religion, because if you can't forgive yourself, if you believe that God, who is the most supreme being that ever existed, that's a pretty clumsy way to say it, but if you believe that God has forgiven you, then it would be easier for you to forgive yourself. So I think that's part of why people become religious, that they can find some peace there.
I've got down here, is forgiveness a choice or feeling?
Oh, it'd have to be a choice, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I would too. So you're choosing to offer compassion and empathy to a person who wronged you.
Yes.
Or a situation that they had put forward that affected you.
Yes.
I think it really does depend that you are strong enough to accept that.
Yes.
And move on from that. It's really hard because people go, no, I don't want to do that. No, because he's a so-and-so or she's a so-and-so and they did this and they did that. But it's grounding you. It's really shoving the nails in where you can't move. You're rooted to that spot. And all you have to do is just forgive.
Yeah, you're set free.
That's why I loved when you said forgiveness. It's such an incredible experience as well. I'm sure, hopefully our listeners out there, that you can agree with that forgiveness is something that is so important for the human psyche to move forward.
And also socially too, because if you are able to forgive, then that lays a foundation or opens the door to restore relationship. Now, some of the people that I have forgiven and the relationship has started flowing, I'm not really happy that it has, really, because I just don't like that person. and the relationship is pretty crap. But at the same time, I have been freed from carrying an unnecessary chains that's held me back. But I know I've given a bit of a negative example there, but there are times when friends, family members have genuine misunderstanding of each other or circumstances that they're mutually involved in. But if you can extend forgiveness to those people that are very close to you, then you're keeping the door open for relationship. And everything in life swings around relationship. Relationship is so important.
Paramount.
It's paramount. And it's like a pipeline that has to be clear so that the water can flow through and come out and go in both ends. If the relationship is blocked, then the force of life cannot go through the pipeline of relationship. So forgiveness enables the pipeline of life between the two people to be unblocked.
I think so too. Now, have you heard of something called toxic forgiveness?
No.
Well, toxic forgiveness occurs when an individual pardons another person prematurely. Or under duress, often without genuine resolution of the underlying issues, which is so real. And the reason they said this form of forgiveness can stem from social pressures, initialized guilt, or a desire to maintain peace at the cost of one's well-being. So it's wrong to do that. It's toxic.
It is wrong. I like this point. I
love that too. I love these topics because I learn so much. I mean, we can talk, we can get in a conversation, but I love the word. If in my mind, when you said unforgiveness, it's like I zip open the top of the word and all this stuff comes out. It's incredibly, amazingly powerful.
Well, it is. And remember at the beginning of this, I said that there's somebody in my life that has violated myself and my family to the point I do not want to forgive them. Now, I feel exactly what you've just said. If I grant that person forgiveness, then I feel it's toxic because that person is so rotten to the core and has shown absolutely no sorrow or regret for what he's done to our collective family that I don't think he deserves my forgiveness. Now, I'm prepared to give it if he makes moves of restoration towards me and members of my family. But I feel that if I give it beforehand, before he does that, then it would be toxic because he thinks, I got away with it. There's no consequences. They all have forgiven me and they all want to have something to do with me. And he can continue on in his bad ways. So I think this whole point of toxic forgiveness is excellent. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, well, again, until looking around, I thought, what's toxic forgiveness? The other thing is, can I be angry and forgive? Anger and forgiveness are partners. In reality, anger and forgiveness work together and often at the same time in any real healing process. through anger and forgiveness may seem to be opposing forces, they are actually completely equal partners in the journey towards, this is the word, healing.
Healing and wholeness. Yeah, lovely word, Lee. Geez, you've done well this time on your homework, haven't you?
I love this. I really do. And I love podcasting and I love to discuss this. And if nobody's listening, I get so much from it. And the moment you said the word, and I know I've repeated myself many times, has been incredible. It's been full on. And Molly, as we get to the end, again, I'm so excited that we got this done and out. But unfortunately, you're going to have to forgive me. I've got to leave you the last word.
Of course, Podmaster, it's easy for me to do that. And I too have enjoyed this little discussion, and I feel like it's helped me to go back over a few things, to remember the grace that's been extended to me and that I have to be rich in that to others. So, yeah, thanks for the chat, Lee. It's been good. And hopefully, listeners, you can forgive us for our stumbling and our amateurishness. But as Lee said, we're not experts. We're just two blokes that have a propensity to share the richness of our own lives that we have experienced. And we love doing these podcasts, and we love knowing that some of you in the big wide world are out there listening to us. So until we listen and join again next time, look after each other. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, etc., and be kind to each other. Hooroo.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Don't Get Me Started with Keith and Lee. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Don't Get Me Started, jump onto our socials, follow us on Instagram at Lethal and Mully, Facebook and LinkedIn. If you would like to be a part of the show, email us on don'tgetmestarted2024@gmail.com. Until next time.